sometimes think that incredible lovemaking is going to come from learning a series of techniques, or our lover learning what to do to us because they haven't known exactly how to handle us, or us learning how to be better with our lover, or getting a bigger vibrator, or taking a blue pill. You know, we have all kinds of modern ideas about what it's going to mean to have good sex, or we think it's going to look like it looks in the movies. It doesn't. It doesn't. And it's not, and it doesn't need to. What's, you know, what's really, what our true potential is something really, really tender, is something where there is no end point. There is no perfect human or perfect version of ourselves that's totally sexual and vibrant and raw in every moment and feeling vitality and aliveness. You know, the more we compare ourselves to this thing that we see in advertisements, or that we think we can accomplish, the further we are from it. You know, so much of it is humility. So much of it is being humbled by the layers of things we've put in our own way because it hasn't been safe to be that alive, to be that open. And so, you know, with my teaching, I really invite that you come to this with a humble heart, that you come, you know, in some ways, it's like we come on our hands and knees and we say, I know that I don't know myself. No matter how much work I've done, no matter how much therapy I've done, and how much excavating, and how much I know that in this life, I don't even know if it's possible to fully know myself. And so here I am, vulnerable and open to this process. And then I approach the practices from that, and I stay childlike. And I'm childlike within these practices. And then I see, what are they giving me? Oh, this practice showed me that my thoughts are really pulling me out constantly. That's information. I'm not going to beat myself up for it. I'm just going to say, wow, that's information. That's something that has been a disconnect for me. And guess what? I'm not alone. Every single other human is struggling with that too. You know, I'm going to be gentle in that way. Or, wow, there's pain there. There's pain, and what I want is orgasm, and what I'm getting is pain. Okay, you know, I'm going to love myself there in that pain. I'm going to know that pain, and me touching that pain, and me digesting that pain that couldn't be digested before, and me being strong enough to be present to that pain and not shut down and not dump it on another person so I feel better. That's the thing that's going to help me get closer to that supple, open version of myself. And that supple, open version of myself, again, it's not a stagnant thing. It's not one thing. It's constantly moving. So, you know, maybe I'll speak for myself as somebody who's done these practices for years and years and years. Maybe there'll be a moment where I am vibrant and open and totally at the peak of my sexual aliveness and feeling like so orgasmic and alive. But I also need to be willing to recognize that there are going to be moments when I fully shut down. And when I do, I can't be attached to the image I have that, well, I'm a Tantra teacher and I'm super sensual and sexual and I know exactly what I need and want sexually, and I'm free and I'm sexually, you know, experienced and liberated in myself. And if I get attached to that image, then I can't grow through the places where I myself am shut down. And in those moments where I meet my own shutdown, my only thing that I have, and this is this exact same thing that I will keep offering to you if you choose to keep going deeper into these practices, is that the only thing we have when we hit those parts where we shut down is humility. It's our humbleness. It's our willingness to say to our lover, wow, I'm embarrassed. I'm feeling shut down. I'm in my head. My mind won't shut up right now. I'm scared. Can we be in that together? That's not sexy, but it's what wants to happen. And then that that very unsexy, boy, am I feeling shut down right now moment can actually be the gateway for more intimacy, because we're allowing where we are at to be seen. But how do we get there? Because half the time, it's a process to even know who we are, what we're going through, and then to be able to put that in words, to even share it with ourselves or with a lover. That's a process. And so this is where the practices come in. To some degree, if we can think of all of ourselves, all modern people, we are all kind of like an ice cube. This is what I'm seeing right now. I don't think I've ever said that before, but it's kind of what we're like. We're like an ice cube. we're block-like, and there's a solidness to some of the defenses or the ideas of who we're supposed to be. And what we have here that is so brilliant and so precious is not just an idea of all the things I just told you, because that won't get you anywhere. That's like enough to maybe open your mind to be interested. But our cognitive mind has so little capacity to actually change our unconscious patterns. I mean, really, it's maybe 2%. I mean, I made that up, but I've watched a lot of humans try to transform, and we got to get into the body to help that transformation happen. So here, we're very blessed because we have access to practices. And what those practices do is they start to melt that block of ice. And the more that block of ice melts, the more we become conscious of what we may be unconsciously doing to either sabotage ourselves, to shut down in any given moment, to not want to see ourselves, so we throw our stuff on other people. We all do these things, they're just part of the modern human experience. And becoming sensitive enough to be conscious of what's happening in our own bodies, what we might need in order to open more deeply, what we might need to feel our lover more, to have the strength to feel we can communicate those things. This happens through this thawing out process. And then as we thaw out and we start to feel more of the heart of ourselves and who we are, we start to become more aware of the different sensations. And our body is actually so intelligent. And it has been talking to us this whole time, but we were a block of ice and we couldn't feel it. It's okay. It's part of the process. Again, nothing has gone wrong. So as we melt away and we start to feel the gooey heart center of who we are, then a whole new way of living starts happening. So this is how I help you change your sex life, is pretty much I go like way to the root cause. We start looking at how can you melt that ice, start to feel yourself, start to feel your tender heart, and now you can hear the messages of the body. Your body has been talking to you for your whole life, but you couldn't hear it. And it's starting to, and when you can start to hear it, it will give you such important data about who you are, about when you get shut down, about when you go into defensiveness, and essentially about when you start to feel unsafe. And it can even give you information about what you need in order to feel safe again. Because as long as we don't feel safe, which is what propels most of our behavior that is, let's say, incongruent with our whole self, right? It's all propelled from this fear because we don't feel safe. And learning, being able to articulate, oh my gosh, what's happening right now is that I don't feel safe. And then being able to articulate, this is what would help me feel more safe in this moment. Not even to articulate it to anyone but yourself is what I'm talking about right now. And then to feel, I can give that to myself. Maybe I'm in a conversation with someone I love and it's not feeling good and I don't feel safe. Now, I don't have control over what they're going to say or do, but I can, as I become more supple, I can get deeply connected to myself and feel, you know what? I think I need a break from this conversation. to recalibrate and actually feel like I can be present to it. Because right now, I'm starting to feel unsafe and I'm no longer really fully present. I can't be. Even just that little thing, it sounds like a big relationship thing, but actually just that can actually transform our lovemaking. Because if I can learn to take care of myself in the interactions that are on the outsides of lovemaking, the lovemaking of communication, the lovemaking of navigating a life with someone and the day-to-day stuff, if I can have a subtle articulation of recognizing what I need in order to feel safe in those interactions, I'm creating a bed of the safety so that I can then adventure sexually. Because if I'm in a relationship where the dynamics, even if it's a perfectly kind and lovely person, but our dynamic for some reason is making me feel unsafe, doesn't mean they're an unsafe person, but I'm not feeling good in the dynamic. I've shut down, I've pulled back, or I'm in a process of pulling back, then I can't bring my whole self to the lovemaking. It's just not possible. So we're looking for like it's like a sense of clarity and a kind of what's coming to me maybe sounds strange, but like a cleanliness. It's like, it's just clean and pure. Oh, that's what I'm feeling. Oh, here's what I might need. If I give myself what I need in this moment, then I'm more likely to find a place in myself where I have the strength and the courage to accept where I'm at, and to maybe even share that with my partner in a way that's going to help it be more fluid between us. It's going to help me feel more safe in this partnership. And now from there, I'm in that like soft bed where I'm willing to explore and be supple in the discovery of one another. And that is where great lovemaking comes from. Yeah, sure, somebody's got some good technique. You could have good sex with them. But great sex that profoundly changes your life, sex that shakes your world, sex that grows you as a human being. It isn't just about pleasure in the moment, but that actually opens you to altered states of consciousness that fuel your body so you can be even more of that tender-hearted self in the world. That requires intimacy, that requires knowing ourselves, that requires a gentleness and a tenderness with ourselves, and a gentleness and compassion and tenderness for our partner. It requires trust in ourselves, trust and a ground of trust with our partner in order for that magic to come forward. Magic requires like a certain kind of tending of the soil for it to grow. And then I'm going to take you right back around to say, well, how would we do that? We're going to do it using practices that help us to melt some of the tension, some of the ideas of who we need to be, some of the ideas of what's appropriate, melt that away so we can get closer to our tender heart, our gooey heart center, and we can lead from that and know ourselves a little better. So even when it's messy, even when there's disconnect, even when I'm feeling scared and shut down, I have more of myself. I'm hearing more of my body messages. And that's giving me the clarity and the strength and the trust to take the next step that's maybe a simple communication step. And all of these things sow the seeds for the magic to come in.